Frost DKs, however, got really upset about their nerfs.
0.3%. I wonder how a 0.3% nerf feels.
Listen, that's in single target. Okay, AoE did take a hit because we had the nerfs. So you remember, like, right in patch day, we had buffs to Frost DK and Arcane.
Sure.
And then a couple hours later, we had nerfs to Frost DK and
Sounds
Arcane.
about right.
So what happened was, like, Frost DK was already doing pretty well all across the board. And, it was obviously the Deathbringer talents. So they nerfed it, and after the nerf, bugs occurred, right?
Oh, the Wave of Souls bug,
yes,
right?
the Wave of Soul bugs is like the biggest one, and basically it was a little bit of an overreaction for the biggest majority of the Frost damage, understandably so. That always tends to happen, but it did gimp your playstyle because when you have less of that Icy Talons procs things that is affected by Wave of Souls, it feels very clunky. It feels very clunky, also, and suddenly you don't attack as fast, and your damage drops, obviously. But this is only in AoE. Like in single target, it's so minimal you won't even recognize it.
I think we do have to point this out for anybody who's not up to date with everything. These are all expected tuning to happen because not all the tuning have happened this reset. From what I understand, there's about
but this
some of them are about to
this
come,
reset. This is so Frost DK is this is
Frost DK sure, but we're gonna have like other stuff that is probably gonna be coming in the next.
And I also had a chat with Taze about this. Let me just try to scroll it down here. Sir Red. Okay. So just to get like a little bit more into like the details for Frost. Okay, because I know a lot of people like were thinking about switching to Unholy, which, hey, welcome. It's a beautiful world.
Yeah.
Unholy hasn't been touched at all. It's perfect. So let's check out a little bit the nerfs. All right. So Deathbringer, Reaper's Mark, initial stacking damage reduced by 22%. Exterminate damage reduced by 22%. Wave of Souls damage reduced by 22%. Obliterate damage reduced by 6%. Breath of Sindragosa damage reduced by 10%. And Icy Death Torrent damage reduced by 12%. Of course, obviously, this will not apply in PvP. Now, basically, what Tay said here, like, for single target, the nerf is negligible. So
it's kind of what matters a little bit more.
Yeah, and for AoE, it's a bit bigger, like as you saw in the table as well. It's around 2 or 3% nerf. Okay, now he said also that people are overly reacting massively because the bigger issue is in regards to the bugs, like with the Wave of Souls being like the prominent one. Now, let's read like the Wave of Souls because I don't think everybody knows about this.
Sure.
So this is the hero talent, right? So Reaper's Mark sends force bursts of Shadow Frost energy and back, dealing blah 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 attack power, Shadow Frost damage path both way to enemies caught in this path. Now the most important part here, Wave of Souls critical strikes cause enemies to take 5% increased Shadow Frost damage for 15 seconds, stacking up to 2 times, and it is always critical strike on its way back. Now, this is one bug. Another one is with the Dark Talons procs. It zeroes out Icy Talons value until you proc Icy Talons from spending runic power again, so you'll randomly start attacking slower for a few seconds. This is what I was talking about. It starts feeling clunky. So just for people who don't know what this is, the Dark Talons basically is like assuming Killing Machine or Rhyme has a 25% chance to grant 3 stacks of Icy Talons and increase its maximum stacks by the same amount for 6 seconds. Runic power spending abilities scan out Shadow Frost while Icy Talons is active. Now, Icy Talons, I think everybody knows this is in the general DK talent tree. Your Runic power spending abilities increase a melee attack speed by 6% for 10 seconds, stacking up 3 times. Now, Dark Talons just buffs up Icy Talons even more. So you get like super attack speed and you get that giga damage. And it was like partially affecting a lot of the Frost DK's performance in AoE. It is.
Auto attack crits generate Killing Machine, so that's pretty big.
Yeah, exactly. So these are like the major issues, but overall, and just gonna circle back to the table here, overall, as is being said in the table here, it's very, very minimal for single target. And it's a nerf for AoE, but it's not the biggest in the world,
AoE is a little bit clunky because people need to understand what 2 to 3% means. Let's say in the perfect world, you pull a pack in a dungeon, you do like 5 million DPS. 2 to 3% is about 100 to 200k DPS loss out of your 5 million. That's a very small chunk of DPS, if my math is correct, that, in the end doesn't end up being that big, right? Sure, it would be a lot more if it was single target, but it's not single target either, right? So it's not that bad. And considering that Frost DK was a spec that was performing really, really, really well, you probably expect something like this to hit. It never feels good, of course, but these are okay nerfs. There are...
I mean, I saw them with our Frost DKs, especially on the Russian fight last night. I've seen them. Like, they're usually a lot more on the top meters, right?
That's also a problem because when we were fighting, there was probably the Wave of Souls, and if Blood DK starts the fight, they start with the Wave of Souls instantly, so the Frost DK never gets to use their Wave of Souls at all the entire fight.
Yeah.
So you miss out on a lot at that point. But that's still like, what, 2 to 3%?